Okay, so let me show you something about this. So the number one problem in video is it's shaky, right? With handheld cameras, because you can't, I don't care how steady your hands are, they're not perfect. So what you do is you take this and you use it like that. Takes all the shake out of it, okay? But you take this and you, I'm walking a lot, so we'll put it over there. You take this and record stuff that you say and do, okay? If you're talking to people at all, record it. Because it's content. And content is king. Content is everything. That's why people say SEO is dead now, because Google has made content king. And that's been said for like 5 years now, but it's never been really true. Now it is. I'll give you a perfect example. Real estate in Dallas, you would think that's super competitive, right? And it is. That's very true. I got a page ranked for home buying tips in Dallas real estate. Ranked first page of Google, number 4, with no links. No link building, only content on the page. And that proves that content is now king. Content is now trumping all the work that SEO people do. And I'm an SEO people, so I know about it. But it really is about the content and the way you serve a customer. So with that, everything I've talked about, like I said before, the principles really in digital marketing and offline marketing are the same. You're solving a problem for your customer. It's the tactics that are different. There's very little strategic that's going to be different in digital and offline marketing. Very little. The only things that are strategic are when you begin to use platforms and pay serious money for paid search or SEM or paid social media, any of that stuff. That's when you have to think strategy, but it's really about budget and outcomes and things that you're already going to be measuring anyway. Remember, build your strategy, deploy it, measure, and be brutally honest about the measurement, by the way. You never want to give yourself on your measurement. If you did something and it was your speech and you only got 5 people raise their hand, be brutally honest about that. Don't pretend people raise their hand. Don't take eyebrow raises for raised hands. Don't take anything else's interest as raised hands. Somebody came up to you and said, I want your services, that's your outcome, okay? So the hardest thing for us to do is to be accountable. It's the hardest thing to do as a small business owner. And as a person, I think. I think it's really tough to go to somebody and say, I'm going to do A, B, C by the end of next week. I want you to come and you're going to hold me to this. You're going to hold my feet to the fire if I didn't do it. That's hard. It's hard to do. So if you can't do that with somebody else, it's really even harder to do for yourself, right? But you have to do it. Whatever you have to do, get that measurement in. Because you can't grow without measuring, okay? I'll tell you another little secret. It's a favorite quote of mine, because I don't like being wrong. Does anybody like being wrong? Okay, so at least somebody's close to like me. You can't grow without being wrong. That's a really important principle for me. I cannot grow without being wrong. I have to see that I'm wrong, be willing to move past it, but I cannot grow without being wrong, okay? So with all that said, let's start on this part. So 5 steps of the sale is the center of everything I do. Anytime I'm talking to a customer, prospect, consulting project, I'm on stage, I'm talking about the 5 steps of the sale. Why? Well, I came up in sales and marketing. I've done just about every kind of sales training that you can think of. Anybody in here not been through any sales training? Okay, so everybody in here pretty much, with a couple of exceptions, you've been through some kind of sales training, right? Okay. So the problem with it is it's generally high introductory to medium level or intermediate level and up. The deployment, the tactics, all the stuff in sales training tends to be on that level. So what I was looking for, and the reason I'm actually about to finish my book. The reason I started writing is because I went out and looked for books that gave a simple, repeatable process that a small business owner can look at and know, this is what I'm doing, this is why I'm doing it. So this is it, 5 steps of the sale, not 25. My contention is not that these are the only 5 steps of the sale, but rather that if there's 35 steps, if there's 140 steps, if there's 8 steps, these 5 are still present, okay? All right, 5 steps of the sale, why your website doesn't work, and in fully integrated digital marketing, okay? First step of the sale is greeting. And are you going to keep time for me? Because I'm horrible at that. Plus my clock is right there. Greeting, first step of the sale. It's on your website at your homepage. generally. Now with social media has gotten sophisticated enough that a lot of times the first place that somebody impacts your idea, comes in contact with your core idea, is on social media. Regardless, this is why you spend so much time learning your customer. Okay? A great kind of intro is, are you tired of this? That's a great intro. If you listen to commercials, they say that a lot. And that's because we're tired of that. Are you tired of traffic? Yeah. Are you tired of your donuts not being fresh? Are you tired of those corporate out-of-towners making their silly donuts and they're not fresh? I'm pitching for Round Rock Donuts right now. You see what I'm saying, though? So they're locally owned, right? So if you buy donuts from somewhere else and then you buy theirs, you notice the freshness. You know they're local. People love doing business with local. So yours, probably everybody in here is small, locally owned, right? Right? That should go into all your marketing right there. Locally owned. I live here, I give here. These concepts are huge in engagement, okay? So greeting. It's the widest point of the funnel. It's where you're going to talk to the most people. So disciplining your message is probably the most critical here. Because if you don't give people a clear path to go down, which one are they going to go down? If you leave your customers to only deduce for themselves where they're supposed to go, the whole experience is going to be awful. And when it really starts costing you money is when you get into paid search. Because if you send people to, you pay a lot of money for paid search. The more competitive it is, the higher the price is, generally speaking. There are some exceptions. But people are going to go to general search, and then they're going to click on your ad. They're going to go to your homepage that's not clear about anything. And where are they going to go after that? To somebody else's ad. How many options do you think, now don't think about it. I just want you to viscerally respond. Just the first thing you think of. How many options do people have on a general, regular Google search return page? If I search donuts in Austin, how many returns am I going to get on the homepage?
Over 1 million.
Hundreds.
What did you say?
Over 1 million?
No. On that page. On the page, just on the one page. Okay, so everybody 10. Anybody else?
Okay.
Who said 16 to 20? 16 to 20? Okay, anybody else? 30. There are 30 options on that page. There are 10 organic. There are 3 paid at the top. There's supposed to be 10 on the side. And there's 7 to 10 on the bottom. These are all options that they can click if you don't do your job on your homepage. And really, if you're doing paid search, you really should be doing landing pages. That's a whole other class. But you should definitely investigate landing pages, by the way. They're really useful. What a landing page does, just as a little caveat, landing page gives me somewhere specific to go instead of somewhere general. Because even if I take them beyond the home page, if I make my landing page from my paid search, let's say that I do home remodeling, and I do granite countertops, and I want to sell granite countertops. I'm doing paid search for granite countertops, so my ad is going to click through not to my home page, but to my granite countertop page. That is still not as strong as a landing page built only for granite countertops, and here's the secret sauce. Only that piece of traffic comes to that page. You can't get to that page any other way. That gives you what I call siloing. You know what a grain silo is, everybody, right? We're getting to this age where nobody knows anything about farming now, and I always forget that. So a grain silo is this long tube full of stuff. It's called a grain silo, it's probably full of grain. You want this one full of leads, okay? So siloing, you can't get in, you can't get out, there's nowhere else to go, right? You can come in, and then you can leave. That's the only 2 options you want on a landing page, generally speaking, again. There's exceptions to everything, except for that statement. It always makes me laugh to see people say, question everything. Well, what about that statement? If I question that statement, then I'm not questioning everything, right? Quit telling me what to do. So, landing pages, that's a complete rabbit trail, but it's really, really important, okay? So, landing pages will help you on just about everything you do. Okay? All social media should run through a landing page, everything. So greeting, what is one of the funnel? You're going to talk to the most people here. Discipline your message. Build your message, spend a lot of time on it, then vet it with people, both like our mentors back here. They're great people to run messaging by, but the best people are your potential customers and your past customers. And don't skew it. Don't go, hey, how you doing? Listen, I've been working on this a long time. I've worked on this message. I really like it. Would you take a look at it? Don't do that. Go, look, I've been looking at this too long. I know there's errors in here. I need somebody who's gonna buy from me to take a look at this and tell me what's wrong with it. That's the way you wanna set it up, because you wanna know every single thing that might cause somebody not to buy from you, to be exposed before you start paying money to expose that, right? Okay? So, greeting. What does this say to you? Confused, right? Not much. That's the way most homepages are. The biggest mistake we make as small business owners is we go, man, somebody gets to my homepage. I need to tell them everything. It's kind of like elevator pitches. You go to a networking meeting. Hi, I'm Kyle Bailey. I own Front Burner Marketing. We do digital marketing, and that includes SEO and paid search and SEM and social media. We also do strategy, and we do planning. And if you know anybody who has a small business and owns a business and would like more business, then have them call me. Oh, we also do social media strategy sessions. See what I'm saying? That's the way most homepage, and then we ain't done. We're not done. There's another hour of stuff coming. They do these 60-second elevator speeches, and I'm like, dude, you got an o'clock? I mean, because you went up there for a while. I was at one just Wednesday. And they went for a long time. People are not going to be able to consume all that, okay? Punchy, powerful. How many of you remember what he said about me when I stood up? When he stood up and introduced me?
Lumberjack.
Why?
Because it was funny and it was interesting. It's not something you hear all the time.
Right?
Yeah.
Unexpected?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you another little secret. Your brain has this little section in it, and I've been told for a long time that it was the broker brain, and then a brain guy told me it's not the broker brain, but then he didn't tell me what it was. So I'm going to call it the broker brain because I like saying broker brain. So there's a part of your brain that governs, now I know broker brain, anybody who's going to come up after, I know it governs speech, but there's supposed to be a little part of it. There's one part of your brain that does this anyway, whether it's broker or not, that governs predictability. Now if you think about what you expected when you came in here today, what did you expect? Anybody?
Either someone who's slick and in a suit or someone who's real laid back because it's the Austin.
But what did you expect of? What was the thing that you came here for?
In education.
But in what?
Marketing.
Marketing.
Okay, marketing presentation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why did you remember Lumberjack if you expected marketing? Because he talked about that. Because you already expected that. Your brain went, hey, handle the donuts and the water and the introductions. I got this part. We've already talked about this. This is the part of your brain that gets you home, and you pull in your driveway, you put it in park, and you go, that's how old I am. I'm on the column. See that? They're not on the column anymore, man. Days have passed. It's a better day without airbags. I'm just kidding. So I get home, I put it in park, and then I go, I don't remember taking a single turn. That's the part of your brain that does that. Okay? You remember taking all the turns now because everything is under construction and you can't, none of your ways are done anyway. So the point of this is, if you want to be well remembered, there's a trick. I've been using this for years and it works like a charm. If you're in networking, face-to-face networking, there's another rabbit trail. I love rabbits. Go to your networking group, stand up. Now imagine we go around the room, everybody goes, hi, I'm so-and-so, I do so-and-so, if you think of so-and-so, let them tell, and also we do blah, 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 blah. Next person, blah, 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 blah. You stand up, you see already, everybody did exactly what I'm talking about. Everybody went, what am I missing? What's going on? The talking stopped. I must have, either I'm doing something wrong or I'm about to miss something. Stand up, be silent for a second, and go, I'm looking for squirrels. Everybody's going to remember that. If you want to know more about it, ask me after and sit down. Bam, done. Everybody in the room is going to go, what just happened? What? I thought, what? And the next person, I've had it happen all the time, the person after me will stand up and go, I'm so-and-so, and why? Why is that? It's because you're on this train, clickety-clack, 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 clickety-clack. The expect it's happening. Expect it's happening. I don't need to pay attention to this. All of a sudden, BAM! Something happens on the train. I need to pay attention to this, right? Think about this in your messaging. Go look at the next 10 people who do what you do. What are they saying? Don't say that stuff. Say something different. Remember, people don't buy things, they buy states. Talk about the states. Are you tired of this? Would you like to have this? I always say, one day in my life, just one, even just 12 hours, okay, I'm not even going to go a whole day. For half of a day, I want my life to be going so well that I can look as smug as those guys driving those cars on the commercials. They always are driving down the road looking like this. Now, presumably, nobody's looking at them, right? They're just driving down the road looking like this. And they're nodding to themselves about their life and how great it is. Why? Because what the car company is saying to you, to me as a guy, you can be just like that guy. He's not going down the road knee driving, opening a sandwich, and talking on the phone. That's what we all do in the car. They're not, why aren't they pitching that? Because you could be just like that person. No, you could be like this smug guy, hands at 10 and 2. He's driving on a mountain road. It's the only thing he ever drives is mountain roads that are not under construction. Because he's that cool. I can be that guy. They're pitching you the guy you can be, the person you can be, okay? I'm a guy, so I say guy, okay? I'm thinking of myself. I like to do that. I like to think of myself. My point here is pitch the state. Figure out what, even if you're pitching the state, if you're saying the same thing everybody else is saying, you're white noise. You have to say something different. I'll give you my own personal example. I started this in SEO, okay? I came into this in SEO. Search engine optimization. It's how you get pages ranked higher on Google. It's how it used to be, okay? We'll leave that discussion for later. So I'm going to talk to people. And what I noticed is almost immediately, every person has the same story. You guys all lie, you all take my money, and nobody delivers anything. I've been lied to so many times, I've lost so much money. So our typical response is going to be like, no, you don't understand, I'm not like that. I'm not like those people. I do this and this and this. And then if they're still being pushy with it, because a lot of these people are very offended. And when they find out that it's like finding out you're a car salesman. That's why I used the car sales analogy earlier, because it's very analogous to car sales. And a lot of marketing is like this. People have burned tens of thousands of dollars in marketing. And so I'm going to go in there and pitch them marketing. And I'm one of the slimy marketing people. So I do a couple of things to separate myself. Tell me about that. So what did you buy? I bought, this guy came in here, sold me an SEO package, SEM package, told me he's going to get on social media, he's going to make me a lot of money, and it didn't. Okay, so if I'm hearing you right, you bought SEO, SEM, and social media. Okay. Man, I'm really sorry that happened to you. Now tell me silence again. Silence is powerful. Okay? It helps you if you're ever doing physical pitches. Does anybody in here do physical pitches? So you're going to be in front. Okay, great. Silence is powerful. Thinking, now you really are thinking, I'm not telling you to use this as a tactic to manipulate people. I'm telling you, use it as a tactic because it helps you, it helps me. Because I can get my emotions under control and I can think exactly what I'm going to say next. Okay? Because every word you say in a physical presentation is gold. It's very analogous to your website. Every word on that page, every function on that page is gold. Okay? So if I'm hearing you right, SEO, SEM, social media. What was the strategy? Now I know. See, this is knowing my customers. I know 99.99 and all the nines in existence that have ever existed, put them there, of both small business owners and marketing people are horrible at strategy. They're horrible at it, if they even mention it. Most salespeople in a marketing function won't even mention strategy because they fear it. They don't understand how to implement it, and they're afraid the customer's going to say no. So I asked them about the strategy. Well, they didn't talk about the strategy. Now, the emotions passed, now we're actually talking about something I can help them with. Okay? That's how you have to look at it. Untangle what is normally happening, disengage from the normal, be unpredictable, and take your next step. Okay? Early stage, low pressure, low intensity. You're learning. What was your name again? Nadius, right? Mm-hmm. I think you've been in one of my presentations before. I remember that name.
I think so.
Yeah, okay. Nadius, look. I want to be in a situation today and talking with you where I learn about your business, I learn about what your needs are, and I really don't even want to sell you anything today. All I'm trying to do is figure out what your needs are. I may not be a fit. I've got lots of alliance partners here in town, and I trust all of them, and I may be handing you off to somebody else. Or it may be that you don't need to spend money yet, I don't know. What I'd like to do is ask you a series of questions that are gonna tell me more about your business and maybe open up some discussion here that we can get somewhere that's gonna give you some help. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, I don't have a business yet.
No, I know, this is hypothetical. Oh, well, I'm leaving then. So, my point here is, has anybody else said that to a small business owner? No. I'm coming in, I'm selling my stuff, look at my stuff, look how awesome my stuff is. Buy my stuff, look at it, it's shiny, it's awesome, I made it myself. Look at it. See, look at it. That's the way most sales presentations go. That's the way most websites are. Here's all my stuff. Look at all my stuff. It's all piled up here. Just dig through it with a rake, find the thing you want, and that's the thing you want. Buy it. Okay? Don't do that. Simple, easy. Now, here's a caveat that is very, very recent, but it is gigantic. If you can imagine that the Titanic rose from the bottom of the ocean, joined itself all back together, and is sailing on land, is about to crash into this building, that's how big this is. Everything you do has to work on mobile. Okay? Now, here's the caveat. If I came into you today and I said, your website is mobile friendly, wouldn't that make you feel good? Google's telling everybody their website's mobile friendly, but people don't understand that that doesn't mean it's actually mobile friendly. What it means is they've got a certain set of criteria that were met by your website. Your text is not too small. Your pictures scaled to size. Let's see, what else is it? Your footer scales. There's several other things. But here's the thing. If you have a slider on your website's not mobile friendly. And it will pass the mobile friendly test. So number one is to get on Instagram. Number 2, get rid of sliders. You've got to chuck your sliders. Here's the reason. Your slider images scale down to your mobile size, right? All the text, you should have text on your images. All the text on your images shrinks down. So now it can't be read. It's almost impossible to read, even for people with good eyes. So again, who's your demo? Who are you selling to? Are they over 40? If they're over 40, you really have to work on how your mobile site stacks. Because what you really want is simple buttons that they can just click and go somewhere. You don't want pictures that have text on that's too small to engage with, okay? So mobile is huge. It is, I can't overemphasize it. It's impossible for me to overemphasize it, okay? Report building investigation. How are we on time?
You're about at 1 hour right now.
I'm at 1 hour right now? Okay, great. Let's go through these 5 steps very quickly, and we'll finish up these steps, and then we'll get into Q&A, and then I'll dig back into this if there's not very many Q's. I won't need to give A's, and then we can go back into this. Rapport building investigation. Most sales training separates these two. Rapport building is one step, investigation is another step. The reason I combine these, and I put them in the same step, is because you can build rapport all day long and not get any closer to a sale. You and I can talk all day and be great friends, and I don't get any closer to a sale. So how do you combine that? Well, I'm going to ask questions. You notice that questions I asked her, those are both investigative, but they're also rapport building, because I'm talking about my sales process and how I build relationships. That's my first, one of my core values is building relationships. It's more important to me than anything else. Far more important than selling something is that you and I build a relationship that 5 years down the road, you and I are still friends. Okay? That's first. So if that means we don't do a deal, we don't do a deal. Okay? I'm setting the table, I'm setting expectations, I'm defining myself. Okay? So as we talk through, what's your favorite vacation spot? Oh, you went to Switzerland, that's great. Well, how does that relate? Somehow you tie that back to, or in the process you're asking other questions, okay? So rapport building and investigation are critical. The reason I put FBI up here is because all they do is investigate. Every box on every shelf in this room is filled with folders that are filled with pieces of paper that are filled with information that represent hours of human endeavor and investigating and learning about somebody else. That's exactly the way you should think about learning about your customers. And here's the reason. If you do a 5-year study of your customers, you know your customers pretty well, right? Well, here's the problem. They're all 5 years down the road, and now the people that were 5 years younger than your demo have moved into your demo. And the rate at which younger people, or let's say the rate of change in the way a demographic is consuming information is unprecedented right now. You can't, I mean, like we talked about before, if you go 5 years ago, 2010, I mean, Facebook business pages were just now coming out. Think about life without Facebook business pages and liking a page. That didn't exist. Instagram didn't exist. So everything is just roiling over. You have to understand how your people consume. Presentation. So after I've greeted, after I've done rapport building investigation, the goal of this is not to make a sale, it's to determine if this person's a fit for my services and if I'm a fit for them. And you have to be willing to walk away. Put that on your website. We're not for everybody. It may be that you determine that we're not a fit for you. We'd love to recommend you to somebody that works better for you. That's rapport building and investigation. Okay. After that, after you determine they are a fit, you say, I've heard you. If I heard you correctly, I think this might be a solution for you. That's presentation. It's the first time a solution comes out. Okay. It's the first time a solution comes out of the bag, the magic bag, right? Okay, that's presentation. This might be a solution for you. Path, it's only going to happen if you have a clear path like we talked about earlier. Now, after presentation, here's the thing that I think is going to solve your problem. Here's specifically what it's going to do for you. Now, you remember before I talked about not talking about the nuts and bolts? This is when nuts and bolts comes in. Here's another quote for you. People buy on emotion, they justify with logic. So if you combine our two earlier statements, people don't buy things, they buy states. Emotion, I want to feel this way. People buy on emotion, they justify with logic. Now, I bought a 60-inch, high-definition, smart TV. I needed that. Now, I justified it by saying my kids will be able to watch educational videos on that and better. I mean, I don't have kids, but if I had kids, they will be able to watch educational videos on that TV better. And then, well, of course, I mean, it's a smart TV, so I can watch YouTube videos on it and do marketing stuff on it, and I can use a second screen on my laptop and all these other things. I rarely use it for those things. I watch James Bond movies. I watch football. I'm watching the World Series. And I want a 60-inch screen so I can see the sweat roll down past this eyelash and write down. Presentation demonstration. People buy on emotion, they justify with logic. Understand that. So if you're in a logical discussion with a customer on the phone and they're getting emotional, you have to understand what's going on there. They're no longer talking about the nuts and bolts. They're talking about the benefit delivery, even if they're not saying that. So understanding, again, your demo and how they think, how they consume. Don't love your baby too much. Prospect baby. Let them fall in love with the baby, right? So again, we get back to this thing. Look at, it's so great. No. Is this a solution for you? I think I heard you say that you tore your ACL and you don't like having to walk across the room to change your TV. Is that correct? Yes. Okay, they've self-identified. Yes. That's a function on your website. If you're like a lot of my customers, you have a lot of kids, and you've used cheaper countertops, and it tears them up. You also know that in 5 years you're probably going to sell your house, and you also know that granite countertops are the #1 way to increase value in your kitchen dollar per dollar. So you can increase the value of your house, they're more resilient, and if you're like a lot of my customers, this is what you're thinking. Are you interested in learning more about the different types of countertops we offer? Button. Yes. Self-identification. Customer identifies, I'm interested in this thing, they're further down the process. Now what a lot of people do is in this process of narrowing down, they'll narrow down and they go wider. They go, great, we're really glad. They want to go back to the homepage? No. Keep getting narrower. Give me videos on it. Give me more content on it. Define granite countertops in different types. Show me the work you've done. Tell me about testimonials. Okay? Narrow or not wider. Okay? Demonstration, it's their baby. understand why they love that baby. I'm 46, and as a single man with no kids, I've walked the journey of, have you ever seen such a beautiful baby? And it's like, they all look the same. They're all babies. I mean, they all look the same. At a certain age, it's like, look at this baby. There's some version of this going on. But you never say that. That's the most amazing baby I've seen since yesterday. Okay. Prospect baby. If you have to explain it more than once, you're doing it wrong. Now, what this means is, this doesn't mean you tell the customer once, you don't tell them again. Famous quote that is actually misattributed, or misattributed. Grammar people can tell me how to do that later. Henry Ford is supposed to have said, if I'd listened to my customers, I'd have sold them a faster horse. That's not really true. He didn't really say that. But that is indicative of his thinking. He was very offended that people no longer wanted the black Model T. He said you can have it any color you want as long as it's black. Believe it or not, I mean, there was one color car. That's what they sold everybody. And GM came out with different colored cars. They went crazy. So Henry Ford actually, he was very offended. And he took a lot of actions based on that offense. He got offended at his customers because his customers were no longer in love with his product. Whose baby was it? It was his. They didn't like his baby. Okay? Very important. I can't tell you. That is like, spend all your time on that. So, what I do mean is, by the time you get down, they've self-identified. Yes, I'm interested in remodeling. That's why I came to your site. I'm interested in kitchen and bath. That's why I chose this page. In kitchen and bath, I've got 10 options. I chose one. Really shouldn't have 10. They should have 3 to 5. But I chose granite countertops. And yes, I want the black granite countertop. Self-identified. By this point, they have taken several opportunities to self-identify that, yes, I want this thing. So by this time, you shouldn't have to tell them much. So if your demonstration talk at this point is, if they get out of that page and go, I really don't know, you need to fix that. Okay? So demonstration, if you do it, tell them once it's been wrong. Closing is the easiest thing in the world. You need 0 closing techniques if you do all the first 4 steps right. Okay? Closing, if you have to hard close people, you haven't done your job in the first 4. Okay? That's just the reality of it. My definition of a sale is when the right solution meets the right problem at the right time. When the right solution meets the right problem at the right time. Any one of those that are absent, you don't have a sale. You have a manipulation, or you have a shoehorning event where somebody was stuffed into a sale they didn't belong in. Something else happened, but that's not a sale. So we all fear being salesy, right? I don't want to be too salesy. Well, what does that mean? You don't want to sell anything? Well, just stay home. Don't start a business. Shut your business down. I don't want to spend that much money on marketing. The best way to save money on marketing is don't spend any money on marketing. That's the best way to do it. Don't spend any time on marketing. Oh, no, you want to be effective in marketing? Well, it takes